Okay, we're live. Jeez, technical difficulty. Sorry, guys. But so the Epstein client list. Does it even exist? And who all's on it? That's going to be some of the things that we're going to try to speculate on tonight. First, we're going to cover some of the recent drama with this quote client list end quote that got brought back into the public eye, and then we're going to cover the history and previous comments and sentiment of those currently involved in the disclosure of the list, and then we're going to revisit Epstein's associates and financiers, and then we're going to cover Epstein's, quote, little black book, end quote. It's a 100-page Rolodex of Epstein's associates that is separate from the Lolita Express flight logs, which was Epstein's private jet and those who flew on it. We're not going to be covering the flight logs. That information is readily available on the internet for those that want to check that out. I want to spend more time on this Black Book Rolodex, which was discovered in 2015 and hasn't gotten a lot of press. I want to focus on that because the term, quote, black book, end quote, has pretty specific meaning that leans towards personal and confidential and oftentimes romantic contacts. Whereas the flight logs can generally be accessed publicly through avenues like the FAA, unless there's an ASDI block on the information, which there wasn't. So stick around to the end. I want to comb through as many of these names in Epstein's black book as we can. Something that hasn't really been done outside of the flight logs. This live stream is going to follow a series of articles and videos on this subject, and I haven't really put together an outline, so we're going to just be kind of jumping around. So, where did all this drama start, and how did the Epstein list get brought back up after all these years? Well, then presidential candidate Donald Trump campaigned on Epstein disclosure, and then out of the blue, this article came out by Axios, referencing an FBI memo that the publisher obtained, stating that Epstein didn't have a client list, that he in fact committed suicide, contrary to speculation of assassination, and that he wasn't trafficking children to powerful people to obtain blackmail. So this is the Axios article right here. So this originally had a FBI memo attached to it that it looks like they've since taken down, but the FBI and the DOJ haven't said that it was fake, and in fact, they've since commented on this with President Donald Trump. And I want to show you this video here. Let's check out this video. This is an interviewer asking whether Jeffrey Epstein was a part of an intelligence network. And so let's listen to what was said.
Jeffrey Epstein, it left some lingering mysteries. One of the biggest ones is whether he ever worked for an American or foreign intelligence agency. The former Labor Secretary, who was Miami U.S. Attorney Alex Acosta, he allegedly said that he did work for an intelligence agency. So could you resolve whether or not he did? And also, could you say why there was a minute missing from the jailhouse tape on the night of Saturday?
Yeah, sure. If
Could I just interrupt for 1 second? Are you still talking about Jeffrey Epstein? This guy's been talked about for years. You're asking, we have Texas, we have this, we have all of the things. And are people still talking about this guy, this creep? That is unbelievable. Do you want to waste the time, and do you feel like answering?
I don't mind answering.
I mean, I can't believe you're asking a question on Epstein at a time like this where we're having some of the greatest success and also tragedy with what happened in Texas. It just seems like a desecration, but you go ahead.
Sure. First, to back up on that, in February, I did an interview on Fox, and it's been getting a lot of attention because I said, I was asked a question about the client list, and my response was, it's sitting on my desk to be reviewed, meaning the file along with the JFK, MLK files as well. That's what I meant by that. Also, to the tens of thousands of video, they turned out to be child porn downloaded by that disgusting Jeffrey Epstein. Child porn is what they were. Never going to be released, never going to see the light of day. To him being an agent, I have no knowledge about that. We can get back to you on that. and the minute missing from the video, we released the video showing definitively the video was not conclusive, but the evidence prior to it was showing he committed suicide. And what was on that, there was a minute that was off the counter. And what we learned from Bureau of Prisons was every year, every night, they redo that video. It's old, from like 1999. So every night the video is reset, and every night should have the same minute missing. So we're looking for that video to release that as well, showing that a minute is missing every night. And that's it on Epstein.
So there you have it. She kind of sidestepped the question of whether he was an intelligence asset. And the New York Post here actually covered that. They kind of commented on that. They were like, hey, look, actually, she kind of sidestepped this question here. So they kind of commented on it. They picked that up. So we're going to cover a little bit tonight on some of his connections to intelligence. So here's that article. So, and they're not, that's the thing, is everybody's kind of, you know, Trump was a little bit defensive on that front. You know, are you guys still even talking about this? Well, one other person that was recently talking about this was Don Jr. Show us he says on a tweet from 2023, show us the client list now. Why would anyone protect those scumbags? Ask yourself this question daily, and the answer becomes very apparent. So that really didn't age well. And he was retweeting this from one of the victims of Ghislaine Maxwell, and we're going to get into her in a little bit here. So now we're going to go into another video about how the times have changed, about everybody wanting Epstein disclosure, and then all of a sudden it's kind of real hush-hush from both sides of the aisle. So I'm going to go ahead and start one here. There's a couple, I have a couple montages about how times have changed here. So let's see. This is the FBI director. This is this next video that I'm gonna pull up here. Him, prior to being FBI director, he was on Blaze TV. And was asked about the client list, and these were his opinions before he became FBI director. Mind you, after you take the position, things could change, but just to show a contrast between how things have changed by those involved. Let's go ahead and check this one out.
So, who has Jeffrey Epstein's
Black Book?
Black Book?
FBI.
But who? That is, I mean, there's...
Oh, that's under direct control of the director of the FBI. Just like the manifesto from the Nashville school shooting of the Catholic school.
Yeah.
We still haven't seen that, right? It's not the Nashville police or PD saying we don't want this out. The FBI airmailed into that operation and said, this is not getting out. Because they do that because this is another government gangster operation. All these local law enforcement communities get funding from the DOJ and FBI for local programs. And if you don't cooperate, you're not getting your $1 million for this, and you're not getting and that's a lot of money to these local districts. That's how they play the game. That's why you don't have a Black Book or the manifesto.
But the Black Book, it's not just sitting, I mean, that's Hoover power times 10.
And to me, that's a thing I think President Trump should run on. On day one, roll out the Black Book.
Roll out
and not
the
just
Black
that.
Book.
On day one, roll out all of the text messaging communications we were told were deleted. On day one, play the rest of the video of the pipe bomber. On day, one of the reforms I talk about in government gangsters is you need a central node to be continuously declassifying. This is another thing they do. They overclassify. And I'm telling you, as a former number 2 in the IC, they overclassify 50% of the stuff there to protect the deep state. Oh no, you can't see that, nothing to see here. Gina was a master at it, of doing it. And we still haven't seen half of the Russiagate report that we wrote. Still under lock and key. On how the ICA was originally constructed. We put 10,000 man-hours against John Brennan's team that did it. And we found out why they came up with their bogus conclusion. But we couldn't sell it to the world because we couldn't talk about it, and the government gangsters came in and buried it. All of these things, there needs to be a continuing central power, whether it's the White House or offsite, that says, Every request that comes in, just right out the door, as long as it's not a major threat to national security.
So that was the current director of the FBI saying that he believed that the director of the FBI has the black book, has the client list. Okay, and he uses the word black book. So we're going to go into this black book because you have the now current director of the FBI conflating the client list with the black book. And that's why I want to spend a lot of time on the black book. I really do think that that it should have some more focus instead of the flight logs. So this is the acting director of the FBI, prior to him being director of the FBI, obviously. But let's check out what the deputy director of the FBI had to say prior to becoming the deputy director of the FBI. Let's check out what he had to say here. Now, this is a flashback from when it's Dan Bongino, by the way, is his name. He's the acting deputy director of the FBI. This is what he had to say on the Tim Pool podcast.
About a year and a half after that, I'm in agreement.
This is the story that Dan Bongino shared on the Tim Pool podcast prior to him becoming the deputy director of the FBI. So let's go ahead and check out what he has to say. Listen to a story that he had to share on the Tim Pool podcast.
About a year and a half after that, I'm in a green room at Fox, and I'm not going to say who because they didn't give me permission to share it, but the show is a story, but I don't know who they are. It says, you know, Epstein's an intelligence asset for people in the Middle East, right? I'm like, no, I didn't know that. I'm like, you sure of that? The person, let's say, is like, I'm absolutely sure of that. That he's either a witting or unwitting asset, intelligence asset, meaning his plane and that island, the cameras, there's a big assumption out there that these videotapes were exclusively in the custody of Epstein. That's a huge mistake. The reason they wanted this story to go away is because there's an assumption like, oh yeah, Epstein had him. No, he wasn't the only one who had him, according to this source. These assets, that's why this blackmail story makes so much sense. Which Middle Eastern countries they are, I don't know, but this person who is a very, very good reporter, I mean, aces, right? Swore Epstein was either a witting or unwitting intelligence asset, and they may have had his plane wired up, and they're the ones who have all this stuff. So the point is, to sum it up, how do you know some of these countries aren't going to some of these power players who aren't making decisions? Because, hey, you wouldn't want this video out there, right? How do you know?
100%.
I mean,
Let's get
Man, that really stinks. I thought this was the full clip. So the current deputy director of the FBI, who came out and corroborated the official story about how he committed suicide and he wasn't running a blackmail ring, previously thought that it was just the general assumption, you know, that he was an intelligence asset. And the whole reason why he had all these cameras was because he was feeding it back to an intelligence agency. And I really wish that this was the rest of the clip, because he also goes on to say that a lot of people, I'm sure, probably know that Dan Bongino, prior to becoming deputy director of the FBI, he was a podcaster. And prior to this, he would do executive protection work. And for those that don't know what executive protection is, it's basically securing high-profile subjects, protecting high-profile subjects. Basically like the Secret Service. I think he might have been in the Secret Service. But he was on the same Tim Pool podcast. Man, I really wish I had it. He goes into a story. He didn't want to name the person, just like he didn't want to name the Fox News analyst in the green room that he was just talking about. But he doesn't say who this guy is. He goes on to tell another story about how one of his EP guys, executive protection buddies, they were protecting Bill Clinton. And Dan Bongino goes on to say that they were on the plane, on the Lolita Express, and he didn't know, I guess his buddy didn't know that it was the Lolita Express at the time, and says that there was a young girl that wasn't of age, clearly wasn't of age, wasn't a woman, that got on the plane as well. And at one point, according to Dan Bongino, the now deputy director of the FBI, he says that his buddy told him that they went back into the back of the plane and closed the door, and he couldn't confirm or deny exactly what they did, but let that be that. And Bill Clinton was on the flight logs. I have a video here of I just recently found of Bill Clinton actually getting questioned. Somebody questioned Bill Clinton about it. So let's check out what old Bill Clinton's response was here.
Any comments on the alleged allegations of your connection with Jeffrey Epstein? No. I think the evidence.
Well, he was not expecting that question. Definitely caught him off guard. But, like a politician, didn't crack a smile, didn't miss a beat. So now we're going to go in about how times have really, really changed since then. Since prior to the election, running on the campaign promise of Epstein disclosure, until now, with everybody involved. Let's check out this little montage here.
Please do not let that story go.
Who has Jeffrey Epstein's
Black Book?
Black Book?
FBI.
But who? That is, I mean,
Oh,
there's...
that's under direct control of the director of the FBI.
What the hell are the House Republicans doing? They have the majority. You can't get the list? Put on your big boy pants and let us know who the pedophiles are.
Would you declassify the Epstein files?
Yeah, I would.
All right.
I guess I would. I think that less so because, you don't know it. You don't want to affect people's lives if it's phony stuff in there because there's a lot of phony stuff with that whole world. But I think I would.
This isn't about Epstein or 9/11 or JFK or RFK. It is, but it isn't. It's about a bigger thing. If you're lying about that, you're lying about everything. Who's on the Epstein tapes, folks? Who's on those tapes? Who's in those black books? Why have they been hiding it?
And this is something Donald Trump has talked about. The DOJ may be releasing the list of Jeffrey Epstein's clients. Will that really happen?
It's sitting on my desk right now to review. That's been a directive by President Trump. Everything's going to come out to the public. The public has a right to know. Americans have a right to know.
And I want you guys to pay attention to that there. What the deputy director and the director of the FBI were saying. They conflated the black book, Epstein's black book, with the client list. Okay, and that's what we're going to be going over tonight, is this black book. Here's just another little montage about how times have changed. Let's go ahead and run this really fast.
How is it that my father can be convicted of 34 crimes, but no one on Epstein's list has even been brought to light? I'm trying to figure out how that's possible, right, folks? It's almost like they're trying to protect those pedophiles for some reason. I can't imagine why, right?
Why is the FBI protecting the greatest pederast, the largest scale pederast in human history?
Simple, because of who's on that list.
Everybody in politics has a vice that's much worse than alcoholism, is the way that I put it. But we
Release the list.
seriously, we need to release the Epstein list. That is an important thing.
The DOJ may be releasing the list of Jeffrey Epstein's clients. Will that really happen?
It's sitting on my desk right now to review. That's been a directive by President Trump.
In this case, in Epstein's case, it is incredibly disturbing. We have flight logs, we have information, names that will come out.
I'm not ever going to let this story go because of what I heard from a source about Bill Clinton on a plane with Jeffrey Epstein. I'm not letting it go ever. Ever.
Are you still talking about Jeffrey Epstein? This guy's been talked about for years. You're asking, we have Texas, we have this, we have all of the things. And are people still talking about this guy, this creep? That is unbelievable.
My, how times have changed. And that's the thing, is I mean, everybody wants the disclosure. Everybody. You had J.D. Vance on there. You had Deputy Director Bongino saying that he wasn't going to let this go. You have the now FBI director basically on the Blaze and all these other places saying that the FBI director has the list and basically explaining that they're not releasing it for money or control or various things. And here you got Don Jr. talking about, show us all the Epstein client list now from 2023. That didn't really age too well either. So that's why I really want to go into this black book, because you have the director and you have the deputy director of the FBI currently who conflated the client list with the black book. And the black book hasn't really gotten a lot of press lately. So we're going to be going into that. So let's go ahead and start covering, because a lot of that black book, here we go, I'm going to go ahead and show you what I'm talking about here. This black book was first disclosed by Gawker back in 2015. Here is billionaire Jeffrey Epstein's little black book. It's called The Holy Grail. And here it's got not just Donald Trump, but it has Israeli Prime Minister Ehud Barak. And Ehud Barak was actually the head of a special forces unit in Israel that was a part of intelligence, a part of Mossad. So that's one connection to intelligence. And let's get into some more here. And we're going to be going over this entire black book towards the end of the presentation. So make sure you guys go ahead and stick around for that, because we're just going to start punching in these names and seeing who all of these people are one by one. And we're going to see how far we can actually get down this list before it's just, you know, we could be here all night. This is 94 pages of a black book that is not being discussed by anybody. Everybody brings up the flight logs, but nobody brings up the black list. You know, like, who is Henrietta Conrad? Like, all of these people. Like, who are these people? Like, chances are, if it's somebody on the TV, they're not the top of all this. Like, that's just kind of how that works. Or maybe so. I mean, for all I know, maybe so. We're going to end up going through this. Let's go ahead and play another clip really fast. Let's go ahead and dive into this whole intelligence aspect of all of this. So I'm going to play a clip right now of John McAfee. Let's play a clip of John McAfee really fast. Or McAfee, depending on how you pronounce his name. This is him speaking on Epstein. And mind you, he is right in the midst of Silicon Valley. Actually, first, before we play McAfee, I want to play Epstein's connection to John Brockman, the Edge Foundation, and Silicon Valley. This one here, and then we'll jump into McAfee, because it's going to make more sense, a little bit more context as to how Epstein's associated with Silicon Valley. So let's go ahead and play this really fast. This is a good one.
Are you still talking about Jeffrey Epstein?
Investigators say they found no incriminating client list of Epstein's, no credible evidence that Epstein blackmailed prominent individuals, and no evidence that could predicate an investigation against uncharged third parties.
You got all of these guys here. I'm going to go ahead and rewind this really fast. I really want to watch this again, but I actually have to change. This is like some of the technical difficulties. I got to change the framing of this so you guys can see the names and really see the entirety of this video here. Let's see if I could take this off and increase this, because it's got this is a really good video that connects to Edge Foundation. So Edge Foundation was founded by Brockman, and it was financed by Jeffrey Epstein. So I have to be able to play this. You guys got to see the names at the bottom and really be able to put all this together. It's necessary. So let's go ahead and run this video back really fast, and that way you guys can check out the names and see who all these people are and connect the dots. Let's go ahead and rewind this.
Are you still talking about Jeffrey Epstein?
Investigators say they found no incriminating client list of Epstein's, no credible evidence that Epstein blackmailed prominent individuals, and no evidence that could predicate an investigation against uncharged third parties.
This is the connection to Silicon Valley. Association of Science and Technology Intellects. Financed by Jeffrey Epstein. This is from '99. The Edge Foundation dinner. And these are all the people that are involved, the billionaires involved in the Edge Foundation. You got Elon Musk. You got Jeff Bezos. You got Sergey, all these guys. YouTube, Microsoft, Mantra Capital. Epstein in the background there. Elon Musk right there, side by side. Jeff Bezos, Elon Musk, Sergey Brin. This is everybody. Microsoft, Google, Amazon, Elon Musk. Epstein co-conspirator. She's next to Ghislaine Maxwell there. Alleged procurer of girls with Ghislaine Maxwell. They're with the guys at the Edge Foundation. Silicon Valley billionaires. Model pilot who helped Jeffrey Epstein groom victims and romped with teen girls while he watched. Mysterious model turned pilot Nadia Marcinko, Epstein's global girl, hasn't been seen since document reveal. This is in January 2024. Granted immunity by 2008 sweetheart deal. Now, we're going to be going into this because this is hugely, hugely important as to why I don't believe there's really going to even be disclosure. Because of a sweetheart deal from back in 2008 signed by Alex Acosta, who was a U.S. attorney at the time, who then became Donald Trump's labor secretary in 2017. So we're going to be going into Acosta here shortly. This is Alex Acosta here, and this is the guy that granted a sweetheart deal to Jeffrey Epstein that prevented any of his co-conspirators from ever being prosecuted. That's what this sweetheart plea deal was. All right. And Alex Acosta also said, you can't really see it here because it's cut off at the bottom. Alex Acosta is quoted as saying, when he was U.S. attorney, quote, "I was told Epstein belonged to intelligence and to leave it alone," end quote.
To him being an agent, I have no knowledge about that. We can get back to you on that.
Those are all his passports here. This guy's got a whole bunch of passports. One from England, Israel, he's got one from the United States. So I found that on the internet, thought it was interesting, connected a lot of things. Let's go ahead and jump into Alex Acosta first, and then we're going to get into his connections to intelligence, into Epstein's connections to intelligence here. Let me go ahead and change these settings real fast. Okay, so here we have, this is, all right, where is, I got an article here. The non-prosecution deal that Alex Acosta gave to Jeffrey Epstein when he was a U.S. attorney. Here it is talking about it. saying that he showed poor judgment. He decided a decade ago to resolve the crimes of Jeffrey Epstein through a non-prosecution deal. Okay, and this non-prosecution deal, I haven't read this entire article, but this non-prosecution deal prevented anyone from ever going after Epstein's co-conspirators forevermore. And Ghislaine Maxwell brings it up in a video that we're going to see here in a little bit, because Ghislaine Maxwell is allegedly willing to get in front of the stand and testify as to Epstein's client list, and supposedly she's being blocked from speaking in front of Congress. But let me show you this video here of Alex Acosta. He's getting grilled by I think HHS, because he tried cutting 80% of the budget to fight human trafficking. So let's go ahead and get into this really fast. I'm going to play this video of Alex Acosta getting grilled after he was appointed by Trump. After he was appointed by Trump in 2017 to become the labor secretary. And then Acosta went on to try to cut 80%. I think the cut got stopped in Congress, so it didn't end up going through, but he definitely tried. So let's go ahead and play this really fast. This is him getting grilled. This is Acosta getting grilled by HHS over this whole Epstein thing.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Thank you for joining us, Secretary Acosta. The Department of Labor is a member of the Interagency Task Force to monitor and combat trafficking in persons. Is that correct?
Yes.
In fact, the International Labor Affairs Bureau, ILAB, within the Department of Labor is responsible for combating exploitive child labor, forced labor, and human trafficking. Is that correct?
That is correct.
So it's fair to say the Department of Labor plays a very active role in combating human trafficking. And the problem is a large one.
The problem is a large one. The Department of Labor recently issued a report, and it actually detailed 1,700 recommendations that could be looked at around the world to address this. It also
That is excellent. And I know that there are hundreds of thousands of adults and children who are victims of sex and labor trafficking in the U.S. Glad you were looking at, glad you've detailed a comprehensive strategy. But you've also proposed a budget cut of almost 80%, 79% to ILAB, where this work is done, bringing its budget from $68 million to just $18.5 million. I'm sure you've come prepared to justify this cut to us, but it does not go unnoticed. This isn't the first time that you've ignored human trafficking. When you were the U.S. Attorney for the Southern District of Florida, your office investigated Jeffrey Epstein and your office found that there had been a sexual abuse pyramid scheme that involved at least 36 underage girls, ranging from age 14 to 17. This is horrifying and sick stuff. Mr. Epstein raped and assaulted these girls. He recruited them out of shopping malls. He had employees that helped with this. And then he invited his friends to do the same. And there is evidence that he transported these girls among his mansions throughout the United States and abroad. Epstein and his friends destroyed these girls' lives. Senator Ben Sasse called Mr. Epstein a monster. Would you say that's a fair characterization?
He engaged in vile crimes, yes.
You're a law professor, besides many of your other jobs that you've had, and I'm sure you know there's no such thing as child prostitution under federal law, only child sex trafficking. And each offense under 18 U.S.C. 1591 carries a sentence ranging from 10 years to life in prison. So logically, Mr. Epstein, with the investigation of the federal U.S. Attorney's Office, should have been looking at a potential sentence of 360 years at a minimum. But that's not what happened, because there was a power dynamic here, wasn't there? We had teenage girls with no power who were rape and sexual assault victims, and we had Mr. Epstein and his friends, extremely powerful, wealthy, and connected people. And in a ruling on February 21st of 2019, Judge Mara found you illegally entered a non-prosecution agreement that allowed Mr. Epstein to serve just 13 months in county jail, where he received 12 hours a day on work release, 6 days out of the week. The judge found you broke the law, Secretary Acosta, when you chose not to tell the victims about this deal, and that you gave them the impression that this investigation was ongoing. And do you disagree with any of the facts that were found in the opinion that Judge Mara issued?
Congresswoman, first let me say that the Southern District of Florida has prosecuted sex trafficking aggressively in the past, and it is an incredibly important issue, and it's something that...
For those just tuning in, this is the reason why nobody can go after Epstein's co-conspirators, is because of Trump's labor secretary from 2017. When he was a U.S. attorney, he cut Epstein something called a sweetheart deal, which prevented anybody from ever prosecuting, completely sealed the complete case. And as you're going to see, I'm going to show you a video of why a prison interview with Ghislaine Maxwell saying she was even surprised he was prosecuted to begin with because of this plea deal that got cut with Alex Acosta. And this was cut with Alan Dershowitz, which was Epstein's lawyer at the time, but it was also Donald Trump's lawyer at the time too. I think he still is Donald Trump's lawyer, honestly. But and I'm gonna play you another video from this same hearing, this same Labor Department budget hearing that brings up this this meeting with this closed door meeting at the Marriott between Alex Acosta, who was U.S. attorney at the time, Alan Dershowitz, and Jeffrey Epstein. So let's go ahead and keep this video. She's asking him, do you agree? Because according to this gentleman that she just referenced, she said that this plea deal was completely illegal. And she's asking Alex Acosta if he thinks that if Alex Acosta agrees with this ruling, this non-prosecution deal where nobody could ever go after Epstein's co-conspirator, if he thought that this was, if he agreed with the findings that this was completely illegal. And he's kind of dropping the ball here saying, well, we've always prosecuted trafficking and da-da-da-da, but he kind of just weasels out of it. Let's finish listening.
That needs to be aggressively pursued. Turning to
Do
the...
you
turning,
disagree
turning
with...
to,
Now,
turning
I get to ask
yeah.
the questions here. Do you disagree with any of the facts as presented in the opinion of Judge Mara?
The Department of Justice, I think rightly so, for the past 12 years has defended the action.
That is a yes or no question. I ask unanimous consent to submit the opinion. The hideous truth has come out. You chose wealthy and well-connected people, child rapists, over the victims in this case. If you, as U.S. attorney, as a prosecutor, where your job is to pursue justice, could not fight for these girls, how, as Secretary of Labor, can you tell this panel and the American people that you can responsibly oversee this budget, the Department of Labor, including human trafficking? Is there no answer?
Is that a question?
That was a question.
So, as I was saying, the Department of Justice for the past 12 years has defended the actions of the office in this case. The facts in this case were presented to a grand jury that initially recommended, not initially, that actually recommended a charge that would have carried no jail time at all. And at the end
Do
of
you regret making this deal in secret?
And at the end of the day,
Do you regret making this deal in
Congresswoman,
secret?
if I could finish, if at the end of the day, Mr. Epstein went to jail, Epstein was incarcerated, he registered as a sex offender, the world.
So I want everybody to know something. When he says that Epstein served jail time after all of this, he ended up doing 13 months, and he was allowed to leave on the weekends. Either during the week or during the weekends, he was allowed to leave. And not only that, this was a non-prosecution plea deal that he cut with him. according to Judge Morris, I think she said, wrote an opinion that this plea deal was illegal to prevent anybody from ever going after Epstein's co-conspirators, completely sealing the record, just sealing the entire case, I should say. And you're going to see here shortly, like I said, I'm going to play a video of Ghislaine Maxwell from prison saying that she was even surprised Epstein got arrested again after this plea deal because they were never supposed to go after him again. So when Ghislaine Maxwell says she wants to speak in front of Congress, I don't know. She's still pleading innocence, or at least apologizing for the whole situation. So let's go ahead and continue.
Was put on notice that he was a sex offender, and the victims received restitution.
13 months in county jail, 12 hours a day, work release. You consider that justice for the devastation of these girls?
All right, now we're going to play this deal, this meeting that Alex Acosta had with Alan Dershowitz, which was Epstein and Trump's lawyer, and Jeffrey Epstein at the Marriott. Somebody calls him out on that. Let's see what he has to say here.
Hello again. Thank you for being here. I listened to your testimony. I sincerely believe you want to help to do something about trafficking. I'm going to take you up on that. I want to give you an opportunity because I know you've been under the spotlight with this Epstein thing, and I don't want to come at you with facts, but I want to give you an opportunity if you want to just explain some things, because I think sex trafficking is one of the scourges of humanity right now. And I think my colleague here laid out some of the basic facts, but it sounded like this Jeffrey Epstein, according to, there was a Miami Herald article, and then I know there were some comments made by the Palm Beach police that anywhere from 50 to 80 young women that they even actually knew about were victims of Jeffrey Epstein. Does that sound about right?
I can't comment as to the specific number, but he had multiple victims, yes.
So he ends up getting a deal where he's, I guess, a couple of prostitution, felony charges, state charges. The federal charges were there ever federal charges? Because the Miami Herald article said that he was facing 53 federal indictments.
There were, if I could just provide a brief overview, Congresswoman.
Yes, please, I would appreciate it.
53 federal indictments. Looking at 300 years. 53 federal indictments looking at 300 years in prison for what he did. He got 13 months in prison, spent half of it outside on work release at his house, and got a prosecution deal that nobody could ever go after his co-conspirators. Over 50 indictments. Let's hear how he's going to justify this here.
This matter, this was a state matter, and it was presented by the then state attorney to a grand jury in Palm Beach County. The grand jury reviewed the evidence, looked at what was available, and the grand jury recommended a single charge that would have required no jail time.
If I might just, not to be rude to interrupt you, but before it went to the state, it was my understanding that it was actually, he was facing 53
That is incorrect.
Was he facing any federal charges?
That is incorrect, Congresswoman. This started as a state matter.
But what happened? I mean, there was an article that said, I mean, you could tell me maybe this didn't happen, but there was an article that said that that Epstein's attorneys negotiated a deal with you at the Marriott Hotel.
If I could walk you through the facts, and this is supported by the public record. So this was a state matter. It was investigated by local police, and it was taken to the state attorney's office. The state attorney took this.
Over 50 federal indictments, looking at 300 years. They come in, grand jury in Palm Beach, decided it was a state matter, and then they get a non-prosecution plea deal, went from 300 years to 13 months, with half the time being spent outside, not even in jail. And nobody could ever go after any co-conspirators ever again. So I think that's why it's, well, we'll just have to see what happens. Let's finish the video. Let's see how he justifies that. But I want to stop that really fast, just because she kind of breezed over that Marriott meeting with Dershowitz, and he's kind of answering why it's a state matter after over 50 indictments. Let's see.
This matter to a grand jury, presented all the evidence.
How did you get involved?
I'm leading up to that.
All right.
Presented all the evidence to the grand jury, and the grand jury considered it and recommended one charge that would have required no jail time, no registration at all, and no restitution to any of the victims. He would have, in essence, gotten away. And that's when the local police went to federal authorities. And those that have been involved, you're an attorney, Congressman, those who have been involved in the legal system know that once someone is arraigned, because he had been arraigned on that one state charge, once someone's arraigned, it's exceedingly rare, it is rare, for a federal prosecution to also take place. But our attorneys looked at that, and they said...
Hold on. He's saying that when somebody gets indicted, arraigned at the state level, that the feds can just never go after it. It's extremely rare for the feds to ever pick up a case on somebody. The feds pick up cases all the time on people that are charged at the state level. That's what happens. So, and he's trying to say that they were going to let him get away with it. One charge, no restitution, no filing for as a predator, as an offender, a sex offender. So he's kind of presenting himself as if he's the Superman here. So let's see what he has to say.
Epstein should not be able to walk away with no jail time, no registration, and no restitution. And so they informed his attorneys that that if something else wasn't done, that a second federal prosecution could take place, because, and this is something that's important for the public to understand, you can be prosecuted by the state, and if that's insufficient, you can also be prosecuted by the federal government.
I have a limited time, so, and I'm sorry, I'm not trying to be rude with you, but there was a report in the Miami Herald that you actually had a meeting with Epstein's attorney at the Marriott Hotel in West Palm Beach, where he convinced you not to either drop the charges or not look into the charges, and then there is some mention that perhaps Mr. Epstein gave you information about other people. Is any of that correct?
There's a lot of information in the public record that is not correct. I saw that report in the Herald, and it referenced October 2007, I believe, and I looked at the date on which the agreement was signed, where the federal authorities said they would defer to the state attorney if he actually went to jail, if he actually registered as a sex offender and paid restitution. And the date for that meeting post-dated the agreement. It didn't predate.
Did that meeting take place?
Congressman, this was 12 years ago. I don't remember, but I do.
He doesn't remember. Shady Marriott meeting with Trump's lawyer, presumably Alan Dershowitz, and Epstein, where the lawyer convinced him to basically let him off easy if Epstein provided intelligence. So that's just, I wanted to go over that. I wanted to stop that really fast, because that's kind of the whole question here that Pam Bondi earlier kind of sidestepped out of, that said that she would get back to the reporter as to whether Epstein was an intelligence asset. So here we are, and Acosta, mind you, he's saying that he just doesn't remember, but this was a part of record that she's referring to. So he's saying he doesn't remember, but it's a part of record. So let that be known whenever there's all this confusion. That is one example of Epstein providing intelligence. So let's continue.
We know, because I looked it up, I'm like, what's going on here? That the agreement was actually signed in September, and the meeting took place in October after the agreement was signed. And so
Okay, so he's saying that according to the report, he looked at the report as to the day that it happened, and the agreement was already signed by the time Epstein offered intelligence. So I don't really know too much if it matters if he was using the intelligence to get out of trouble or if he was just providing intelligence after the fact. It almost kind of makes it more likely that he was an intelligence asset because this was after the deal was already signed. Which means Alan Dershowitz, or whoever this lawyer was, presumably Alan Dershowitz, not saying that it was, Epstein's lawyer meeting with Epstein and Alex Acosta, the U.S. attorney, after a deal had already been signed, with Epstein talking about Epstein providing intelligence to this U.S. attorney. So that's one example of intelligence work, providing information. So according to Alex Acosta here, that meeting happened, and it happened after a deal was already struck. So that's just one example. We're going to go over a couple other examples of how Epstein is tied to intelligence. With the Black Book, having Ehud Barak, which was head of a special forces unit inside of Israel that was that's an intelligence unit. So and then her Ghislaine Maxwell, who procured girls for Jeffrey Epstein, charged with trafficking, doing 20 years right now. Her father, Robert Maxwell, was, according to the Israeli Times, a Soviet intelligence asset, as well as an MI6, as well as an Israeli intelligence asset. That's 1 degree of separation. So we're going to get into that too. But this is huge right here. This is Alex Acosta saying, yes, I met with Epstein and gathered intelligence. I don't remember it off the top of my head, but he's saying he doesn't remember off the top of his head, but according to the report, it happened afterwards. Let's go ahead and run that back really fast.
for that meeting post-dated the agreement. It didn't predate.
Did that meeting take place?
Congressman, this was 12 years ago. I don't remember, but I do know because I looked it up. I'm like, what's going on here? That the agreement was actually signed in September and the meeting took place in October after the agreement was signed. And so the answer is that could not have been part of that agreement.
Okay, so
So it happened, but it was after the plea agreement. Epstein was just offering voluntary information, offering voluntary intelligence to the U.S. attorney at the time.
I'm going to go back just to say this, that my community is still very upset about this, and I hope there will be another opportunity to really flesh this out and give you an opportunity to answer all these allegations, because I think we can all agree that a very vile, disgusting man who molested underage girls, lots and lots of them, really got off the hook. So, and with that, again, I'm going to take you up on helping me on this bipartisan trafficking bill, and I yield back. Congressman Cole.
I hadn't intended to ask you anything about the matter we just discussed, but I do feel compelled just to, if you needed to add something, to extend the time to you, if you wanted to put something on the record or respond anyway. If we've cut you off, it's certainly not anybody's intent to operate under limited time. So, but I want to give you the opportunity to respond to anything you'd like, Mr. Secretary.
Congressman, I appreciate that. And let me just say, I understand their frustration. I think it's important to understand he was going to get off entirely without any, other than something that would have required no jail time, no registration and no restitution. He was going to get off. And it was the work of our office that resulted in him going to jail. It was the work of our office that resulted in his having to register and put the world on notice that he's a sex offender, and put all these other victims potentially in the future on notice that he's a sex offender. And you know, there's a lot of reference made to how he was imprisoned by Palm Beach County after the fact. That was a state plea, and that was determined under Florida law. That was not, and I've been on record as condemning the terms of his incarceration, because that the work release, I understand why folks are upset. That was Florida law. That was not a federal decision. So I think it's important to separate what is Florida and what is federal.
Thank you very much. And just for the record, I've had the opportunity to work with you for a couple of years, and I find you a person of great integrity, great ability.
Finds him as a person of great integrity. U.S. Attorney Acosta went as far as creating a non-prosecutorial deal. Nobody could ever go after. Like, it's one thing to just say, all right, 13 months. It's pretty astounding and asinine how he was facing over 50 federal indictments, and he ends up skating away with just a charge at the state level, 13 months, half of which, okay, we understand. Like, we get it. That's pretty, it's one thing, all right, drop the ball on their part. But then to go out of your way and word it in a way where you can never go after his co-conspirators as being a part of this plea deal is, that's where, which a judge, as earlier mentioned, said that was a completely illegal non-prosecutorial deal. Completely illegal. It's called the sweetheart deal, for anybody who wants to look it up. And this guy finds that great integrity, astounding integrity.
Great skill, and I think the president made a wise choice when he chose you for this position. And I think you've more than made him proud, or more than done your job.
More than made him proud, and more than done his job. Let's see what Trump thinks about Alex Acosta.
Okay, now other people, they went all over with him. They went to his island. They went all over the place. He was very well known in Palm Beach. His island, whatever his island was, wherever it is, I was never there. Find out the people that went to the island. But
find out the people. Did a great job. Loves Alex Acosta. There was actually another video that I don't have pulled up right now, but it was Donald Trump praising Alex Acosta. All right, so and this isn't the first time that Trump's actually mentioned the island. He's brought up the island before, and he actually dropped Prince Andrew's name, saying that it was a cesspool, saying the island was a cesspool, and almost implying that Prince Andrew was a client, or at least Prince Andrew knows. So
Well, I think he's got a problem. I mean, what do you think the problem will be? I don't know, but that island was really a cesspool. There's no question about it. Just ask Prince Andrew. He'll tell you about it. The island was an absolute cesspool. So,
the Clintons are friends
and he's
of
been
yours,
there
right?
for many times.
The Clintons are friends.
Well, I can't say friends, but I know
You're
them.
friendly. You know them.
They play at my clubs a lot. I have clubs, and everybody likes to play at my clubs.
Are you saying there's a political problem for her if she runs for president?
It could be a political problem. Look, he could be a political problem. Right now, he's Teflon, and right now, maybe not. But he could end up being a political problem.
all right, so there you have it. Cesspool. All right, now, so it's officially on record. Alex Acosta, the U.S. secretary that gave Epstein a sweetheart deal that ever prevented anyone from ever going after Epstein's co-conspirator, Alex Acosta, the same Alex Acosta that became Trump's labor secretary in 2017, just admitted on record that Epstein and his attorney met with him and provided him intelligence after a plea deal was already struck. Just voluntary intelligence. So now let's get into the intelligence side. Here's John McAfee talking about how he believes that, or believed, I should say, now passed on. And take it for what you will, just because John McAfee, there's plenty of videos online of him just kind of being whacked out of his mind on drugs or drunk or whatever. So I'm not going to verify his integrity, but it's just something interesting, especially after the Silicon Valley with John Brockman, the video that we played earlier, which I really do want to play again, just because to bring it all back full circle with Silicon Valley. But here's John McAfee, who is in that same milieu, speaking about it.
The U.S. government says that Jeffrey Epstein killed himself. What is the evidence? Well, the normal evidence would have been things like the video camera footage. But oddly enough, someone had misaligned the video cameras in that block so that nothing showed anything anywhere near Jeffrey's cell. You could have asked Jeffrey's cellmate, which he had the entire time up to his suicide, but someone had removed Jeffrey's cellmate from his cell a few hours prior to the event. You could have talked to the guards on that cell block, but someone had told the guards to go home early because of cleaning on the cell block in the middle of the night. You could have looked at the stool, the position of the stool he would have had to have stood on, and where the rope was hung from the ceiling or some high place, but no, he apparently hung himself from a bed frame that is 6 inches shorter than him. Now that's quite a task. You could look at the medical report where the medical examiner said Jeffrey's neck is broken in multiple places, indicative normally of a forceful strangulation. And yet that same medical examiner who never went to the jail, never looked at the video cameras that were misaligned, why did they remove Jeffrey's cellmate, why were the guards gone, never looked at any of that, in spite of those broken bones, said Jeffrey committed suicide. Therefore, he committed suicide. He is the official in charge of determining the truth in these affairs. Wake the fuck up, America. Please God.
Okay, so that wasn't about Jeffrey Epstein being an intelligence asset. That was about him committing suicide, saying the coroner said that his neck was broken in multiple places. And the, guards leaving and his cellmate leaving, but let's get back to him being potentially an intelligence asset. Here's Nick Bryant, interviewed on the Sean Ryan Show. Nick Bryant, for those that don't know, he's an investigative journalist. Let's go ahead and listen to what he has to say.
Where Epstein got his big break was in the early 90s. Les Wexner, who is the head of the Limited, Victoria's Secret, multi-billionaire, he gave Epstein the keys to his kingdom, power of attorney over everything. And Epstein was allowed to do whatever he wanted with Les Wexner's fortune. Anything he wanted. He was given power of attorney.
I mean, but he didn't. I mean, he barely even knew him, correct? This wasn't even
they'd known each other for, I don't know, 5 or 6 years. But I think Les Wexner is a pretty dirty guy. I mean, he's also been named as a perpetrator, and I do believe that he is a perpetrator. And he and Jeffrey Epstein, Les Wexner has a very interesting history. He's got a history with the mafia. There was an attorney whose law firm worked for Les Wexner's Limited. His name was Arthur Shapiro, and he was shot in the back of the head twice, execution style, in Columbus, Ohio, which is where Wexner lives and where the Limited is headquartered. So it was very much a mafia hit, and there was a police report, a homicide report. I've got it, that came out, and it named Les Wexner as the chief suspect of that homicide, and it talked about all of Les Wexner's mafia connections, which I was able to corroborate. The police chief of Columbus ordered that homicide report to be destroyed, but I got a copy of it, so I'm good at getting stuff. So, but yeah, Les Wexner is the prime suspect as far as being the prime mover of that homicide, according to that homicide report.
Why do you think? I mean, what was his fortune? How much was it?
He's estimated to be worth at least $4 billion.
Why would he? I mean, is it blackmail? Why would he hand over the keys and give full power of attorney to Jeff Epstein other than blackmail? Do you think it was blackmail?
It's either blackmail or they're both into something very sordid together. And here's what people don't understand about Epstein, and they didn't understand this about Franklin. Jeffrey Epstein was blackmailing some of the most powerful men in the world. I mean, all you got to do is look at his black book and see that he was blackmailing some of the most powerful men in the world. Now, Jeffrey Epstein...
And that's what we're going to be going into, is the black book. Okay, and what Nick Bryant's saying here is that Lex Wexner gave him power of attorney over the Victoria's Secret empire. That's pretty big. Same thing, the man behind Abercrombie and Finch. Okay, now was this a front to recruit people? Certainly seems so. And they only lived, I don't know if he says it here, but Les Wexner only lived 5 minutes, 1 mile, 5 miles away from Jeffrey Epstein. Gave him the keys to the castle. And we're going to be going into Les Wexner here after this. So there's about another minute left of this. Let's listen to this. And then we're going to start getting into Les Wexner.
Was a college dropout from working class Coney Island. Is Jeffrey Epstein going to be able to blackmail Les Wexner? See that he was blackmailing some of the most powerful men about Epstein, and they didn't understand this about Franklin. Jeffrey Epstein was blackmailing some of the most powerful men in the world. I mean, all you got to do is look at his black book and see that he was blackmailing some of the most powerful men in the world. Now, Jeffrey Epstein was a college dropout from working class Coney Island. Is Jeffrey Epstein going to be able to blackmail Les Wexner, who has connections to the mafia? There's no way in hell. I mean, Jeffrey Epstein would have a very brief life expectancy if he did that. But the thing about it is, if he's got an intelligence apparatus behind him, and they make it known to whoever he's blackmailing, no one touches Jeffrey Epstein, or else pictures are going to come out, or whatever. I mean, that's the only way that Jeffrey Epstein is able to blackmail.
So you think that Jeffrey Epstein had an intelligence organization behind him?
Oh, absolutely.
Or more than
no
one?
doubt about it.
U.S. intelligence organization or in other countries?
Well, yeah, okay, so people speculate that it was Israeli and not American. But here's the thing about that, and I try to explain it to people. There's no way that American intelligence is going to let Israeli intelligence compromise American politicians without getting a cut of that intelligence. There's just no
maybe.
way.
I mean, why wouldn't they? Maybe if Jeffrey Epstein has blackmail on literally all these powerful people, I mean, and it seems that they all fold immediately. You know, maybe he had something on the U.S. side of things, and they were like, hey.
All right, so that's the end of that. So we got another one here. Now I'm going to pull up this article really fast so you guys can see it. We got a former NSA counterspy says Jeffrey Epstein was also part of an Israeli network as well. So, and this was from the Washington Times. Named John Schindler says that he has connected the intelligence dots regarding the late convicted Jeffrey Epstein and linked him to an Israeli influence operation. And then basically explains the narrative. He flew people to Lolita Island on the Lolita Express, and you probably already know the rest. But one thing that's really important about this, okay? Mr. Schindler, who has called for CIA Director William Burns to be fired after it was disclosed Mr. Burns once sought career advice from Epstein, said in a long report on his top-secret Umbra blog this week that Epstein appeared to have been part of a shadowy Israeli influence operation known as Mega. And this is kind of where we're going to get into this. Mega is connected to Epstein through Les Wexner. Mega Group, which was known as Study Group, was created by Les Wexner and Charles Bronfman. Under the name Mega, the group is also said to have had contacts with the Israeli intelligence agency Mossad and to have served as a vehicle for influence operations in the United States. And this is according to the Washington Times. So that article that I just got into with this guy right here, and Bronfman, this is the where, okay, if these guys are linked to intelligence, how does anybody know that they're already linked to human trafficking, sex trafficking? Okay, let's just say that they're connected to Epstein. So that doesn't necessarily mean that the study group is connected to sex trafficking. They're connected to intelligence, but not necessarily sex trafficking. So, Bronfman, the name Bronfman. Thing I want to bring up here is this right here. We're going to bring up this chart here. And this is connecting Bronfman to Lex Wexner to the Nixium sex trafficking cult and the Mega Group. So let's go ahead and open this up. So now right here towards, let me see if you guys can see this here. Okay, cool. All right, so right here towards the bottom, you guys can see Les Wexner. Okay, and let me pull this back up. Les Wexner formed the Mega Group with Charles Bronfman. Okay, and you can see this guy right here, up to the top right of Les Wexner at the bottom. Les Wexner supplied money to Epstein and the girls. Epstein is up here at the top left, above Les Wexner at the bottom. And in the middle between both of them is Robert Maxwell, obviously, because of Ghislaine Maxwell. But Robert Maxwell is connected to Charles Bronfman. So, and then we have over here Charles Bronfman's brother. Charles Bronfman is brother to Edgar Bronfman Sr. And then underneath him, you have you have Claire and Sarah Bronfman, charged with running the sex cult Nixium, which involved slavery, human trafficking, and pedophilia. Everybody remembers the Nixium cult. Okay, this is a relative of Bronfman, who started the Mega Group with Les Wexner. So they're not only tied to intelligence, but they're also tied to sex trafficking, human trafficking, pedophilia. And then you have up here, you have other members of the Bronfman families connected to Epstein Island, and Epstein through Lynn DeForester Rothschild. They own a business together, which is Matthew Bronfman, own a business together, which is Bronfman Rothschild Wealth Advisors. And Rothschild's husband is also in Epstein's Black Book. Dershowitz was put into contact with Epstein through Lynn Rothschild. That's who put Dershowitz in contact with Epstein. So Lynn Rothschild. Lynn is a heavy Hillary supporter. That's the thing, is that all of these guys fund both sides. When you're talking about any of these guys that are connected to banking, Goldman Sachs, and Silicon Valley, all these guys fund both sides. So I don't want to turn this into a left-right thing. So this is a connection to Les Wexner. Les Wexner gave power of attorney to Jeffrey Epstein, and his girlfriend or associate was procuring them, Ghislaine Maxwell. Her father, Robert Maxwell, is tied to intelligence, which we're going to get here in a second, and he's connected to Charles Bronfman, who started the Mega Group with Les Wexner. So it's one big circle, and then the Bronfman family was running the sex cult Nixium. So, and allegedly gathering intelligence through Jeffrey Epstein. So let's see here. Let's see what else we got here. So right now I'm going to go into Right now I'm going to go into Ghislaine Maxwell, a prison interview. Just to bring this full circle really fast. about this non-prosecutorial agreement with Alex Acosta, never being able to prosecute any of Epstein's co-conspirators ever again. I want to go ahead and bring up this this interview with Ghislaine Maxwell in prison, because there's news that she's going to be testifying in front of Congress. Not really sure how true all of that is. That's and if she does say anything in front of Congress, this is going to kind of be the gist of it. Right here. Let me see if I can pull this up.
What happened? If you're at work, you miss it. And if you're not, you get to go out. I believe that he was murdered.
Sorry, guys.
Well,
Go ahead and run that back. Sorry about that.
I wondered how it had happened. Because, as far as I was concerned, murdered. Well, if you're at work, you miss it. And if you're not, you get to go out. I believe that he was murdered.
She believes he was murdered.
Well, shocked. And I wondered how it had happened. Because, as far as I was concerned, he was going to... I was sure he was going to appeal. And I was sure that he was covered under the non-prosecution agreement.
She was shocked that he was even prosecuted because of the non-prosecution agreement that was signed through Alex Acosta, the sweetheart deal. Run that back one more time. She thinks he was murdered, and she's shocked that he was even brought up on charges because of the non-prosecution deal.
If you're at work, you miss it. And if you're not, you get to go out. I believe that he was murdered. Well, I was shocked. And I wondered how it had happened. Because, as far as I was concerned, he was going to... I was sure he was going to appeal. And I was sure that he was covered under the non-prosecution agreement. But I wasn't in the indictment. So I wasn't mentioned. I wasn't even one of the co-conspirators. I obviously wish I'd never met him. You know.
So she wasn't one of the co-conspirators, but she was still indicted. She was still convicted of human trafficking on procuring girls for Jeffrey Epstein, serving 20 years. And I don't know if you guys have heard this yet, but she was supposed to be going in front of Congress and testifying. So if she does, it's going to be something along the lines of, I didn't do it, he didn't do it, but there's some shadowy group behind it. But we don't know who he is, but he wasn't gathering intelligence, but there's somebody behind it. So that's kind of, it seems like what's probably going to be what everybody has to look forward to here. Now, we're going to go ahead and connect. Here, I'll just play this really fast. This is her, the news that just dropped about her testifying.
Ghislaine Maxwell, serving 20 years for child sex trafficking, is willing to testify before Congress about Jeffrey Epstein's network, according to Daily Mail. Sources say she's never been offered a plea deal or asked to share what she knows, but she would welcome the chance to tell the American public the truth. Elon Musk reportedly warned Maxwell against revealing names, saying, "She will say she has nothing, of course. The consequences of revealing anything would be negative for her."
That almost sounds kind of cryptic, especially because the video with the Edge Foundation that we played earlier, connecting Elon Musk to all that. So it kind of sounds almost like a dog whistle, like he's kind of warning her a little bit. So I don't know, take it what you will from that. So she's supposed to be coming out and revealing. Supposedly Congress is blocking it, and there's a lot of pressure. But let's go into her dad. So her dad, Robert Maxwell. I'm sure a lot of people remember the footage of Trump wishing Ghislaine Maxwell well. Let's go ahead and play that.
Maxwell is in prison And so a lot of people want to know if she's going to turn in powerful people. And I know you've talked in the past about Prince Andrew, and you've criticized Bill Clinton's behavior. I'm wondering, do you feel that she's going to turn in powerful men? How do you see that working out?
I don't know. I haven't really been following it too much. I just wish her well, frankly. I've met her numerous times over the years, especially since I lived in Palm Beach, and I guess they lived in Palm Beach. But I wish her well, whatever it is. I don't know the situation with Prince Andrew. Just don't know. Not aware of it.
He doesn't know the situation with Prince Andrew, but he wishes her well. Now, he doesn't know the situation with Prince Andrew, but here he is saying that Prince Andrew went to the island a bunch of times. So I'm not really sure exactly what it is with Prince Andrew he's not aware of. He called the island a cesspool and said that Prince Andrew was going there.
Well, I think he's got a problem. I mean,
What do you think the problem will be?
I don't know, but that island was really a cesspool. There's no question about it. Just ask Prince Andrew.
Just ask
He'll
Prince
tell you
Andrew.
about it.
But I don't know what's
The island
going on
was
with
an
Prince
absolute cesspool. So,
The Clintons are friends
and he's
of
been
yours,
there
right?
for many
The
times.
Clintons are friends
Well,
of yours.
So anyway, let's go into Robert Maxwell. So before that clip that I just played of President Trump wishing her well, I'm gonna go ahead and bring up this article right here. Oh, where is it? Let's see if I could find it. Sorry guys, there's this article that geez, I can't even believe that I don't have it pulled up right now. Alright, here we go. Alright, so this is before he wished her well. Let me go ahead and pull this up really fast. Oh man, of course it's going to be blurred out. Let me go back. I had to go to the archives to pull this one up. Let's see here. Alright, I had to go to the archives to pull this one up. Alright, here we go. Here we go. So this is before he wished her well. This is an article I found by the Washington Post. This is him pictured with Ghislaine Maxwell. But more importantly, this is him. This is the president pictured with Robert Maxwell. This guy in the center here, who according to the Israeli Times was Soviet intelligence, as well as MI6. As well as Israeli intelligence. So before he wished her well, I mean Trump admitted that he's been around her multiple times, but that's not as important as this photo right here. It's Robert Maxwell. Now I'm gonna play this video really fast that I have of Robert Maxwell. Let's go ahead and play this.
So what does he do? He keeps building his empire. Bye, bye, bye.
I met Maxwell when he came to Jerusalem. I was interested in making a film about him because Maxwell was an intriguing character to me. And I was an Oscar-nominated director, and that's the kind of man he would want to work with. I was invited to his suite at the King David Hotel, which is a very famous hotel in Jerusalem, for brunch. He asked me, "Are you going to record this?" And I took out a small tape machine and pressed record. He started by telling me where he came from. He told me Robert Maxwell wasn't even his real name.
My surname was Hoch, H-O-C-H. I was born in a small village in Carpathia, Ruthenia, which is the eastern part of Czechoslovakia. A very primitive village. I was one of 7 children. My parents were poor farm workers. It was a Jewish family. Hitler's invasion of Czechoslovakia resulted in my joining the underground. I was eventually captured. I managed to escape. After the collapse of France, I landed in Britain in September 1940 with a rifle in my hand to help carry on the fight. At the end of the war, I discovered the fate of my parents and my sisters and brothers, relatives and neighbors.
He told me that his family was wiped out during the Holocaust.
As they realize that they've been tricked into a gas chamber, many of them. But one thing they hoped is that they will not be forgotten. And this memorial in Jerusalem proves it.
I saw the change in him. He drew inward. There were no other words, nothing exchanged.
Okay, I don't know if I just got kicked off the stream or not. It said that the stream is stopped because it detected me playing a video belonging to someone else. My stream has been temporarily blocked. Jeez. So I don't even know if you guys can see this anymore. Jeez. Yeah, I don't even know if I'm streaming right now. But I guess I'll just continue like I am streaming. Let's see. So I'm just going to continue like I have been streaming. Like it's still streaming. It says... This is on Robert Maxwell. And where it says here... He was Robert Maxwell's life, read like a novel, having variously been suspended of working for the British, Israeli, and Soviet secret services. So I don't know if he was suspended from all of them, or if he was just suspended from, I don't know. But it shows that he was a part of the various intelligence agencies. Ghislaine Maxwell's dad. So, geez, I was doing fine, so I played that last video on Robert Maxwell. So, maybe I'll end the stream because I'm not too sure if it's still working or not. But we're gonna go ahead and play this anyway. Fun little video to end on, since apparently my stream isn't working.
You got your bucket list, your grocery list, your list of things to do. You got
wait,
a
we're
list
back.
of all your wishes. That's a wish list.
We are
you
back.
got your Amazon and Santa Claus and Tooth Fairy too. But I know a list that don't exist. But it's so weird. It's the Epstein list. It's a mystery list with a twist. It's a myth of a list that we all just missed. Be an optimist, not a pessimist. If you wish to persist, it's probably best you forget that list. Now what were we talking about?
What were we talking about?
But I can sleep a lot better at night. Yeah, life can just go along. Knowing there's 10,000 hours of sunshine and flowers and nobody doing a damn thing wrong. Hear no, see no, damn Bongino cash to tell. Well, I wouldn't wanna be a sweating man with bulging eyes to tell me them fellas ain't compromised. Any implicated dude will tell you. Anybody on the big list knows just how far the folks in charge will go to keep the status quo. So when the war bell rings, the song that they'll sing is a song that we well know. I hope, so it's off to war I go. Well, they said it's gonna fix it, but now they're all complicit. They owe. So it's off to war we go. Send the poor off to war, what else are we for? They owe.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, we are back. We are back live. We got cut off as soon as I ended up playing the Robert Maxwell video. We got cut. So we're back. I don't know what you guys heard, what you didn't hear, but Robert Maxwell, here's the Times of Israel. Not the Israeli Times, excuse me. The Times of Israel. Shows Robert Maxwell's connection to Jeffrey Epstein through his daughter, Ghislaine Maxwell, and shows that Robert Maxwell's life read like a, quote, Robert Maxwell's life read like a novel, having variously been suspected of working for British, Israeli, and Soviet secret services. So, yeah, that's Robert Maxwell. And then we got this other guy connected to Jeffrey Epstein. Jean-Luc Brunel. He ended up getting found dead in his prison cell, 2022. And he was actually doing time for trafficking also. So he was found dead in his cell also. What a coincidence. Brunel's arrest was part of a probe launched in 2019 by French prosecutors targeting acts of sexual nature likely to have been committed by Jeffrey Epstein and possible accomplices. So that's what Jean-Luc Brunel got snatched up for, Epstein associate. And one thing that we have to see about Jean-Luc Brunel, this is an important aspect of this coming back to answering the question, was this intelligence related? So we already know that Alex Acosta said on the testimony we watched earlier that he met with Epstein and one of Epstein's lawyers, possibly Alan Dershowitz, about Epstein giving him intelligence. So now let's connect more intelligence here. Jean-Luc Brunel, Epstein associate that got caught up in the ring of Epstein's shenanigans. So first I'm going to show this picture here. This is of Jeffrey Epstein on the island. And I'm only going to show this because we got to set some precedents. There's a couple things that I want you guys to check out. So if you guys notice here, look at the walls, look at the light fixture. Okay, it's Jeffrey Epstein sitting there. Look at the walls, look at the light fixture. Now I'm going to show you guys another picture here. This is of Jean-Luc Brunel on the island. Like I said, the walls, the light fixture, also the closets. The closet there too. Alright, so as you can see is Jean-Luc Brunel. And if you guys check out his hat, we have another connection to Army, possibly Army intelligence. So, if you guys see here, the walls, light fixtures, the closet doors here, the doors, and you got the walls, the light fixtures, doors. So yeah, it's another connection possibly to intelligence. Not necessarily. I don't know what that at the very top of his hat there. I don't know if that's some sort of special services or something that's associated with it. I'll let you guys figure that out. Maybe put it in the comments for me, because I didn't look too far into it. It's always some sort of connection to an army of a foreign nation. So now that's Jean-Luc Brunel, Epstein associate on the island. What else do we got here? And we got this here. Now this is coming from RT here. So take it for what you will. It's one of those things, like this very well could be propaganda too, for all I know. I don't know. So that's why I'm going to say take it for what it will. But this is on RT. This is allegedly. Allegedly, this guy that they're interviewing is ex-Mossad, which is the intelligence arm of Israel. So I don't know how true this is, but you guys decide what you think about this. Take it for what you
maintain that it was your employer, Robert Maxwell, owner of the Daily Mirror. You say that he was an Israeli agent, and as was his daughter.
He was not my employer. I would like to correct that.
Okay.
We worked together with him.
And you say that his daughter Ghislaine also, though, worked for Israel, and it was Robert Maxwell who introduced Jeffrey Epstein to Ghislaine Maxwell way before the 1990s, as mainstream media is reporting.
Correct.
I suppose what the most alarming allegations that you've been making are that the entire Epstein operation was a honey trap operation to entrap politicians, policymakers, celebrities, people in the media eye, basically to become Israel's assets.
Correct. That it became basically an intelligence operation to entrap different politicians.
So they got these are photos of his house. They got the CDs there. There's other photos. There's other photos with like hard drives and stuff. But you never really know. Like I said, this is RT. I mean, you never really know. This could be propaganda too. Like, who is this guy? Like, he could be on the TV on RT right now, coming from Epstein's island, for all we know, with these closet doors. So I'm not gonna sit here and say, but it's one of those things. Times of Israel. Other investigators have said Robert Maxwell was intelligence. So I think we pretty much laid that out. And he had been intelligence. Suspected of being intelligence for the MI6, for the Soviets, for Israel, multiple nations. And what this guy's saying is that he introduced did that just not even play? I hope you guys actually saw that. But he's saying that he introduced him.
Maxwell, way before the 1990s, as mainstream media.
To Robert Maxwell. Or to Jeffrey Epstein, excuse me. All right, yeah, so it was playing. You guys did see that. All right, cool. So yeah, what else do we got here? I think, are we ready to get to the Black Book? I'm ready to just start combing through names at this point. And we'll just see who all these people are. Just go one by one. I think that's pretty much... Oh, Jean-Luc Brunel. That was another thing I wanted to bring up. So supposedly there's this 2009 testimony of Jeffrey Epstein. And I'm going to play that right now. And supposedly there were 3 French 12-year-olds that was shipped in for Epstein, like from France. And Jean-Luc Brunel is from France, and allegedly this is kind of how Jean-Luc Brunel got wrapped up in all of this. Is because of these These 12-year-old.
I hate to call him back.
Complaint filed by Virginia Roberts against you. Isn't it true, sir, that a friend of yours sent you 3 12-year-old females for you to sexually abuse on one of your birthdays?
Form argumentative, harassing, and irrelevant to this lawsuit.
But you're saying it's part of the lawsuit?
Yeah, I'll read it directly.
He's saying, oh, it's part of the lawsuit, huh? Okay. I think that was, I don't know, it's kind of curious as to why he wanted to make that clear. Is that the reason why he ended up dead in his cell, Jean-Luc Brunel? I don't know. But allegedly these three French 12-year-olds were from Jean-Luc Brunel.
It was Jeffrey's birthday one.
On one of defendant Epstein's birthdays, a friend of defendant Epstein sent him 3 12-year-old girls from France who spoke no English for defendant to sexually exploit and abuse. After doing so, they were sent back to France the next day. Isn't that true?
Once again, I'm going to move to strike. Irrelevant, argumentative, harassing.
I would like to answer that question. I really would. However, today, my attorneys have told me I have to assert my 5th Amendment, 6th Amendment, and 14th Amendment rights of the U.S. Constitution.
You're invoking your 5th Amendment rights to each of these questions because you know that your answers will incriminate you and you feel that it will result in you being prosecuted for these crimes. Isn't that right?
Objection, argumentative, harassing, and calls for a legal conclusion.
Pretty much just didn't want to answer any of it. Obviously. 2009, that happened. Now we're going to get in this black book, I think. I think I pretty much played all these videos. Let me just double check really fast, see if I got anything else. No, because I tried playing the Robert Maxwell video, and I definitely got cut off there. So before we get into the black book, I guess I'll play this really fast. According to Lord Trump, there's more to come out. I guess that just came out, so I guess we'll just play that video really fast. According to Lord Trump, so.
What would be your advice? You know, given this back and forth, we're just coming off of Turning Point here in Tampa. This was the topic of conversation. What would be your advice in order to take the temperature down on this issue from within the administration?
Well, I do think that there needs to be more transparency on this. And I think that will happen. I mean, look, I don't know what truly exists there, but I know that this is something that's important to the president as well. He does want transparency on all these fronts, everything we're talking about, because it's frustrated him as well. He sat for 4 years like the rest of us did and saw lie after lie and saw our country just being sent down the wrong path. And it was really frightening and very upsetting to a lot of people to see. And I would actually say over the past 10 years, we've all kind of endured this. Prior to that, it was probably happening, Benny, but we just weren't as aware of it. It wasn't until Donald Trump came down that golden escalator that he just kind of blew the doors off of everything. And people started to wake up and realize, wait a minute, things are not as they have always been presented to us. And I do believe that you will see that. Now, as it relates to the president, I know that this is probably not his number one thing he's focused on. He's focused on a lot of other important things. We've got this big announcement with Russia going on, I think, as we're speaking right now at the White House. We have, a Middle East, we're trying to get peace over there. We're trying to make sure that Iran's nuclear arsenal is obviously completely decimated.
All right, so anyway. Yeah, so that's that. Lord Trump saying there's more to come. I don't know how much I can listen to her.
We want to make sure everything is on the right track for this country. Fortunately, you see no border crossings in the last month. 0, by the way. I think that's incredible. No one's talking about that enough. 0 illegal border crossings in the month of June. Amazing how that's all gone. So I don't know that this was top of mind for him, but he hears all the noise and he hears all of the consternation out there. And I think he's going to want to set things right as well. So I believe that there will probably be more coming on this. And I believe anything that they are able to release that doesn't, damage any witnesses or anyone underage or anything like that, I believe they'll probably try to get out sooner rather than later.
There you have it. Lord Trump. All right, so let's get to this black book here. Let's go ahead and switch this up. So we'll see what's going to happen. Now let's get to this. One more quick thing, because the Bronfmans is who started the mega group with Les Wexner, the financier, Jeffrey Epstein. So Bronfman's connected to the NXIVM sex cult. So this here just shows the Bronfman's connection to more to politics. Justin Trudeau's close advisor helped move huge sums offshore. This was a political scandal that came out with Bronfman. Stephen Bronfman, who helped play a key role in Canadian Prime Minister's rise, was involved in conflicts offshore web, leaked papers show. So there's just, the Bronfman's more connection to politics and political scandals and stuff. So now let's get to this black book here. Now this is the article from Gawker, the ones who first released the black book here. And Gawker's no longer around because of this was actually the creation of the term lawfare, because lawfare was brought against them by President Trump's close associate Peter Thiel, who essentially runs the surveillance state through Palantir, his company that got its seed money from the CIA's venture capital arm In-Q-Tel. So Gawker was the one that revealed that Peter Thiel was a homosexual. And that was at a time when he was really involved in the first campaign, and there was also they released this in 2015, prior to the election, in the 2016 election, and I think there was something that they revealed about Hulk Hogan, and that's when Peter Thiel, I believe, financed the lawyers to take down Gawker. I don't think it was that Gawker revealed him to be a homosexual. I don't think that that's what the lawsuits came from. But we could just go ahead and ask ChatGPT really fast. Let's see. Let's go ahead and ask ChatGPT. What was the fall of Gawker? And we're going to be using ChatGPT for a little bit of the rest of this too once we start going through names. Because that's pretty much how I'm just going to comb through names. I'm just going to come on ChatGPT and ask them. So let's see. Who financed the lawyers that took down Gawker? Spelled finance wrong. Okay. Okay, yeah. The legal team that ultimately took down Gawker Media is the infamous Hulk Hogan versus Gawker lawsuit that was financially backed by billionaire Peter Thiel. So, yeah, I was right. Okay, they published a sex tape involving the Hulkster. and that's kind of what took it down. So, basically the military-industrial complex took out Gawker. Or a large aspect of the military-industrial complex financed it. Although Hogan was the plaintiff, it was later revealed that Peter Thiel, a Silicon Valley entrepreneur and co-founder of PayPal and Palantir, had secretly funded the lawsuit against him. Let's ask it why did he finance it? He financed the legal team. I don't know if that was ever really fleshed out. Peter Thiel financed the legal team that took down Gawker because he held a deep personal grudge against the media company. Yes, and wanted to punish it for the unethical. Yep, that's what it was. Yep. So I was right. Okay. So he took it down for that. But one really important aspect of Gawker is this black book. You have the deputy director of the FBI and the current FBI that came out and conflated the black book with the client list, and nobody's paying attention to the black book. Everybody was saying it was the black book. Even I don't know if J.D. Vance, when he was getting interviewed, actually conflated the black book with the client list. I could be wrong. I played that clip earlier if you guys want to check it out. But let's go through this list. So I have the list pulled up here. I got the list pulled up. It's 94 pages. It's 94 pages. I don't know if we're going to get through all of it in this one stream. But I say that we just start going through names. I'm thinking just maybe start going through names here. And we'll see who we come up with. We're just going to ask ChatGPT about all of them. Who's Aldrich Saffron? Come on. Let's see who this Aldrich Saffron is. First name on the list. Let's see who this guy is. It might be backwards. It might be Saffron Aldrich. Okay, so Saffron Aldrich is an English model, freelance journalist, and social activist. She was discovered in London while she was 16. This is the first name in his black book. Began modeling at 16. Okay. Let's see the second name on this. This is crazy. I think this is probably just a stream all on its own. I don't even... ABOUSLE. Jeez, I gotta fix this whole mic situation here, guys. Hold on. I gotta fix this mic situation. We're gonna go just down the list. I think that should just be a whole another stream all on its own, honestly. And just go down the list of every single person. But I kind of already said that was gonna be this list. I might just have to see how the stream goes. It might end up getting deleted, guys. Because, there's been too many technical difficulties. ABUSLEI. Let's see who this name is. I don't even know how to pronounce that name. First name Joanna, though. Definitely first name Joanna, because that Albel's at the top, like the second name is not her first name. So it's got to be Joanna as the... Whoa. Joanna Albesman, an investment officer specializing in fintech at the International Financial Corporation. A member of the World Bank Group based in Washington, D.C. She focused on investments in financial technology. Whoa. Guys, this might be a stream all in its own. Like, if I'm being serious, we might just have to just go down this entire list. Because this is just going to take just entirely too long to just comb through all of this. Alright, let's go down to the next person. See, but Nick Adam could be anybody, though. Like, with a name like... Or Adam Nick. Like, I don't even know which one is the first name. Like, he's got two first names. Let's see who they say Adam Nick is. This could be anybody. It could be Nick Adam. I don't even know. Because it looks like he has all of them backwards. It looks like he has... Yeah, it would be Nick Adam. Alright, let's just skip that one, because that could just be anybody. Or it says in Paris, so we could see who this guy is in Paris. That very well could be it. Yeah. ChatGPT's like, what the hell, Adam Nick? Like... Yeah, it's just somebody based out of Cali. No, that's not it. Let's just do a quick search real. Who is Nick Adam in Paris? Yeah, just some guy from like the 1700s. Nick Adam, modern designer. It's got like a few options here. We got a chef. We got Nick Adam, a design director at Span in Chicago. So I don't know. That could be anybody. Let's skip to somebody else here. Probably some Algranti. Yeah, this name is definitely Algranti Giacomo. Let's see who this is. Or it's Giacomo. Giacomo. Algranti. Algranti. Yeah, I might just have to do this as a stream all on its own. This could take forever. This is like 4 streams. So, this might just be the... See, and here's like somebody else. It was born in like 1885. This could be it. This guy's a director of a majority shareholder of a private retail company. Founded in 1983. So, I'm going to say, which one were you referring to? Number 2. Let's see more about this guy. Jeez, guys, this is crazy. I might just have to do this all on its own. We might just go through some of these and then just call it a day. Because there's no way I'm going to get through all of these things. Alright, so let's see what else it had to say here. Holds 100% of the shares and the voting rights of this real estate. About the company, retail sales not made in physical stores. 2 staff members with a couple million under management. Small retail business. Alright, just seems like some guy in real estate. So let's go on to the next name. Paul Allen, that could be anybody. Let's see what else we got here. Azzedine Allah. Let's see who the hell that is. Let's see if that's the right spelling. A-L-A-L. I had it right the first time. Come on, ChatGPT, don't fail me now. Alright, this guy is a Tunisian-born courier. Became a pillar of Parisian fashion. King of cling. These guys are just like fashion moguls. Just everybody in fashion, just in Epstein's book. He meticulously crafted dresses. Okay, so he's just a guy in the fashion world. Let's see who else is up next. Who is Nick and Sarah Allen? Let's see. There's no way that I'm going to get a straight answer with this. Who is Nick and Sarah Allen? There's no way I'm going to get an answer on this. Let's see who else we got here. Charlie Althorpe. Let's check. This seems like a pretty unique name here. Okay, yeah, this could be anybody. Like, honestly. So it's like, we don't really know of a Nick and Sarah. Any connection? There's no indication. They just picked two people with the same name. So yeah, this is probably isn't it. But this Charlie Althorp guy seems like a pretty good, seems like a pretty unique-ish name, I suppose. I've never heard of Althorp, so we'll see. Corella Alun Jones. Let's see who that is. Alright, let's see. We're just slowing up. Come on, Charlie. Charlie Althorp. Who are you? Let's see. Alright, let's refresh this page here. Because it is not wanting to tell me who Charlie Althorp is. I might have to regroup here and come back and just do a completely different stream about this. I feel like such an idiot doing this stream, being in it for like an hour and a half, and only doing like 2 names of the Black Book. Alright, looks like Charlie Althorp is, couldn't find anything about Charlie Althorp. Okay. Alright, now let's go to the next name. Corlina. Let's see, let's check out the next name here. Let's see who this is. Corella Alun Jones. Sounds like a pretty unique name. Never even heard of a Corella. I guess so, Corella DeVille, no? Or that's Cruella DeVille. Never mind, not Corella. Come on, ChatGPT, you can do it. Corella Allen Jones. Let's see what the next name is here. There's definitely other names that are much more unique. Roberta and Maurice Amon. See, I don't know. Or Lisa Anestos. Go with Lisa Anestos and see what's up with her. Alright, so we have something on Corella Allen Jones. Corella Allen Jones is a British individual known for being the daughter of Sir John Delic Allen Jones, a prominent businessman and former managing director of Ferranti, a UK-based electronics company. Sir John was knighted in 1987 for the service of his industry. So, there's not a lot of information. This is one of the 4 children of this guy that got knighted. So let's see who else here. So we're starting to get into in the government and royalty here. So Lisa Anastos. Let's see. Let's check out that name. Lisa Anastos. Legal and strategic advisor, corporate law, compliance. Very well could be. Alright, so let's, what are the next name here? Lulu Anderson? I don't know. This could be here. M-A-I-T-E, Arango? I don't know. guess we could try that name next. Appleby. Senor Vincent Alvarez. I don't think we're going to get anything with Vincent Alvarez. There's probably a million Vincent Alvarez's. Arellano, that's a name we had up here, right? That was Alan Jones. Alright, so next we got Lisa and Astos. Alright, let's try, after Lisa and Astos, let's do Lulu Anderson. Alright, so first we're going to do Might Arango, and then next we're going to do Lulu Anderson. Alright, let's see what we got. This is definitely a pretty unique name. Mayat Arango. Yeah, we're just gonna do every single name here. Alright. Processing. I'm gonna have to close out like all these tabs. Yeah, I'm just gonna have to start closing out these tabs here. That's Epstein on the island with John Luke Burnell. I'm probably gonna. Alright, what other name do we want to do next? Oh yeah, Lulu Anderson here. Jeez. We might just have to call it. We might just have to call it a night until I can fix this. I think we got a pretty good stream here. So, I don't know, should we call it? I just don't see this actually working for me here. Oh, here we go. Oh, are you serious? Literally just gave me the name who Might Arango was, and then just completely social entrepreneur, social innovation, Bachelor of Arts. Okay, let's try it. Lulu Anderson now. Who is Lulu Anderson? A fictional character from the animated, not who I was talking about. Try Robert and Alex Appleby. Robert and Alex Appleby. Financial planner in the UK, compliance manager at a retirement consulting. I don't know, probably the planner. Let's see. More about one. Let's see. Yeah, financial planning, UK. Not a whole lot on this guy. Okay, who else do we got on the list here? This is Epstein's Black Book for everybody that's just now tuning in. And we're going to go down some of this list today, and I don't think I'm going to get all the way down it. But I'm definitely going to have an entire stream where I just go straight down the list. See, the problem is that there's like 2 names here, and a lot of it kind of messes it up. Be like, oh, Herv and Marine, Arthur and Kathy, Charlotte and Vitero. This is probably a pretty uncommon name. Vitero SF. Let's see what that is. See if I spelled that right. Vittorio. Vittorio. What about the SF? ASSAF. Oh, it looks like something's coming up when we got something on this. Who are we gonna do next? Mr. Simon Astaire. Definitely see who that guy is. It's probably Vittorio Sef is a prominent restaurateur and the co-founder of this restaurant group, Upscale Dining. They launched Tokyo, Dubai, Mumbai, globally across 35 locations across 3 continents. Huh, okay. Interesting. Who else we got next? Simon Astaire. Let's see what they got for Simon Astaire. Who are we going to do next? Helene Atkin. Yeah, I think probably Helene Atkin next. Let's see who else we got here. Fernando Orion probably too. Yeah, also Victor Arellano. Yeah, because I really don't want to pick these names that are just, you know, common, because then we're not really going to get, a whole lot from it. Alright, so we got Simon Astaire. He's a British novelist, screenwriter, media advisor. Interior designer. Ready to build Jacqueline. It's got a picture of this guy and everything. Talent agent. Okay, we're starting to see a theme here, huh? Between recruiting for modeling and just entertainment industry, talent agents, Victoria's Secret. I mean, we're starting to see a theme here. Who did I say I wanted to do next? Helene Atkin. Alright, who do we want to do next here? If you guys see a name in the chat you guys think that that maybe might work, throw it in the chat. I don't even think we got anybody watching right now. It's getting pretty late. Let's see. Alright. So we got technical product manager, PA consulting. See, it's like UK too. That's why it makes me think that this is kind of on the right track, because a lot of this is all like in the UK. So tech industry. It shows you like this whole bio of these people. This is wild. Let's go with Victor Arellano. I completely messed that up. Arellano. Victor Arellano. Let's see. Multiple individuals. We got a DJ and a music producer. And then who else do we got here? We got an attorney. That could go either way. Really. That could go either way. I don't even want to take a stab at that because who knows? Let's see, who else do we got? Peter, B-A-H-R-K-E. B-A-H-R-K-E. Peter Bark. Let's see, this name sounds like it's halfway unique. Let's see. Swedish entrepreneur, private equity. Okay, let's see what else we got here. We got a bunch of Atkins. We got Helene Atkin, and then we also got Mike and Bill Atkin too. Oh, Shahryar Bakhtiar. That sounds definitely unique. Let's see. Yes. Shahryar. What was it? B-A-K-H. You might have to refresh every once in a while just to be able to get like a clean slate. Alright, Shahryar, that's definitely somebody that is not going to be confused with a lot of people. London in the 70s, nightclubs. Alright, so it's a guy? Okay, so it's a guy. Says that he was a fixture in London's elite nightclubs, often seen with beautiful women and known for his boundless energy. Despite his glamorous lifestyle, he was also an accomplished athlete, excellent in cricket and tennis. Charisma and charms. Bakhtiar's family, notable background. His father was executed by Reza Shah while Bakhtiar was studying in Paris. In the 1980s, he became close to the Goldsmith family, offering them unwavering support during personal tragedy. And this guy was like, oh, additionally, Shahryar Bakhtiar is listed in Jeffrey Epstein's Black Book with 2 phone numbers and 1 address recorded under this name. However, there's no public information linking this individual. Whoa. So somebody who's already hot on the trail here. Alright, so who else do we got? Ariane Fernando? Probably. Let's check that one out. Ariane Fernando is definitely not a lot of Ariane Fernandos out there. Let's see who else we got here. Jose Aznar. I think we already did that one. Yeah, okay. Let's go to the next page here. I think we can go to page 3. 4 out of 92. So many names in this thing. This is definitely going to make for like 10 streams. Alright. Ariane Fernando is associated with several individuals. He's a tour guide, entrepreneur in Brazil, business owner in Brazil. So it's kind of, everybody's in Brazil here. the second guy, micro enterprise, cabinets, masonry work. Let's see who this guy is. Specializes in letters, signs, plaques. I don't know. That one's gonna be for the. We're gonna have to leave that one to mystery. Andre Balaz, B-L-A-Z-S. Let's see who that is. Oh man, are you serious? I messed that one up. Let's see who this Andre Balaz guy is. Alright, who are we gonna do next? Alright, Clive Bannister, definitely. The guy sounds like he's in a comic book or something. Clive Bannister. Alright, so we got Andre Balaz as a prominent American hotelier and real estate developer renowned for transforming the hospitality industry. Yeah, I think that's probably the right guy. It's not a whole lot of Andre Balaz's, I'm sure, out there. Alright, so now let's try the next one. Clive Bannister. Balaz is the CEO of this firm. We're seeing a portfolio of high-profile hotels and residences. Whoa. Whoa. I don't know. Got a photo of the guy right there. Controversies. 2007, Balaz faced allegations of inappropriate behavior from multiple women, including actress Amanda Anka, who accused him of groping her at a hotel event. He hasn't publicly commented. Balaz has been married once. Katie Ford, former CEO of Ford Models, and modeling agency. The Mercer Hotel in New York City, which became a hotspot for celebrity and trendsetters. He later expanded his portfolio to include standard hotels and other notable properties. Okay, so he's got all these overseeing high portfolio hotels and residences. Mercer Hotel, wow, okay, all in Hollywood. Okay, who else is on this list here? Let's see, who else are we going to do? Clive Bannister. The guy that sounds like he's in a comic book. Clive Bannister. Oh, I probably should ask it, who is Clive Bannister? Instead of just typing Clive Bannister. Clive Bannister is a distinguished British business executive with notable career in... Let's see what it says. Who are we going to do next? See, it's all British people, and in the UK. A lot of them are. Javier Bannon. Let's see who Javier Bannon is. Okay, it's going to just spaz out. I think Javier Bannon, and then Sir Anthony and Lady C. Banford. That is, when you have Sir in front of your name, you're definitely somebody, and you're not getting confused with a whole lot of people. Alright, Bannister, let's see, this guy Bannister, leading UK wealth management firm. Clive Bannister. Alright, so next we got who else do we want to do? Sir Anthony Bamford. Let's see. This is Sir Anthony Bamford. Alright, who are we going to do next? after Sir Anthony Bamford. We could do Hilary Batstone. Let's see, who else do we got here? Peter Barnes. That's probably a pretty common name though. Same thing with Craig Barnett. That's probably a pretty common name too. It's got the Balliol College, Oxford. Balliol College in there. Alec Baldwin is in here too? What? Alec Baldwin in the Black Book? Alright, back to Sir Anthony Bamford. Prominent a prominent British businessman and philanthropist. Excavators. Staffordshire, England. Let's see. Construction, agricultural equipment. Alec Baldwin though? Alec Baldwin's in here? Wow. Okay. We could see who Nicholas Barham is. Let's see who that is. Let's see. Let's go ahead and refresh it just to try to clean the slate on it a little bit. We're only on page 3. It's absolutely nuts. There's just so many names in here. Alright, who did we say we wanted to do next? Alright, who do we want to say we want to do next here? Nicholas Barham. Who is Nicholas Barham? Let's see. Several Nicholas Barhams. 16th century England? Probably not. Manager of learning media, learning teaching, or client executive at Steel Cloud. I don't know. I guess it's more of a common name than I thought it was going to be. Alright, let's do Hilary Batstone. Let's see who this is. British antiques dealer. I don't know. Anytime I hear antiques dealer, I was just like, sounds like the mob. Antiques, decorative furniture. All right, let's move on. I don't know. Everything else kind of looks. Let's just look up Alec Baldwin really fast, just because his name is in the list. Let's just see who is Alec Baldwin. And yeah, let's just do who and what controversies has he been involved in? Alec Baldwin in the Epstein Black Book. Let's see. Just for the fun of it. Alec Baldwin. Okay. Other than Alec Baldwin, who do we got here? I think we're pretty much done with this page. Javier Bannon, probably pretty common. There's another Batstone. Tim Natasha Batstone. Hilary Batstone and Tim Natasha. Alec Baldwin, an American actor. In Amityville, New York. Comes from a family of actors. In Hollywood for decades. You know what they say about Hollywood? There's a lot of intelligence assets there. It's kind of like the same thing with journalism. They kind of just recruit from actors and journalists. Career highlights, let's see. Oh yeah, he was involved in that shooting accident with the fatal shooting on the film Rust. There was a prop gun discharge and it killed the cinematographer. I don't know, there's a bunch of an airline incident. I don't know, it's mainly just, I would say it's probably the biggest incident we had. Accidentally killing a lady. Some people, they were putting some conspiracies behind it, but I don't know, I didn't look too much into it. So, who else do we got? Tim Natasha Batstone. Let's see who that is. Alright, who are we going to do next? Tara Bernard, probably pretty common. I don't know, Bernard? I don't know. It might be pretty common. I don't know. Let's see. Other than Tara Bernard, let's see who else we got. Robin Burleigh. Okay, this one right here. Nicholas Berggruen. Nicholas Berggruen. Definitely not a whole lot of them. Alright, so who's Tim Natasha Batstone? Just appears in Jeffrey Epstein's Black Book. Timothy Johnson and Batstone are listed as directors. Company that was dissolved. Another UK company. It's important to note that being listed in Epstein's Black Book does not necessarily imply involvement in any illegal activities. It's probably a good time to to plug that. Since ChatGPT wants to make that very known. Probably Bentinek. Baron Bentinek. That's definitely unique. B.A. Who is Baron Bentinek? Let's see. Lord and Lady Beaumont. Oh yeah, we gotta look that one up next. Baron Bentinek. Let's see who Baron Bentinek is. I can't see a whole lot of people being named Baron Bentinek. So ChatGPT's freezing out, spazzing out. Baron Bentinek, Dutch and British. No, well, no, this guy's like born in like 16th century. Yeah, there's a bunch of Bentineks, so all the way throughout the centuries. So okay, the eldest son of Tim Bentinek. Will Bentinek holds the courtesy title of Viscount Woodstock. He's a fintech entrepreneur. Yeah, that sounds about right. Silicon Valley, huh? Alright, we're definitely looking up Lord Beaumont. It's kind of like the same thing if you have Sir in front of your name, like Sir Nicholas such and such. Like nobody's just being called Lord unless you have quite a bit of money. Beaumont. Beau. Let's see. See who Lord Beaumont is. Alright, what's going to be the other name we're going to go for? Vanessa von Bismarck? Probably going to hit that one next. Lord Beaumont. Okay, so there's a few people that hold the name Lord Beaumont. Okay, this is just like throughout the centuries. Okay. So there's one from like 1309. That's probably not the Lord Beaumont. Who's the current Lord Beaumont? That's what we want to know. Who's got the title right now? So there's no way there was like 6 Lord Beaumonts in the 1300s. Like, there's no way. There's probably just one at a time. There's only one Lord Beaumont allowed at a time, or Lord anything. Alright. So we got this one. This person died in 2002, though. Born Miles Francis Fitzlin Howard. He inherited a barony of Beaumont from his mother. I don't even know what a barony of anything is. That just shows you know you're wealthy when you got a barony of Beaumont. Let's see. He succeeded as the 17th Duke of Norfolk, becoming the premier duke. So there's another one it looks like from recently too, actually. Modern figures. This guy was born a little bit later, 1928, but he passed on in 08. First member of either House or Parliament to represent the Green Party. He was also the publisher of radical religious magazines and a philanthropist. So, I don't know. I guess there was 2 Lord Beaumonts existing at the same time. Let's see who else is on the list here. Vanessa von Bismarck. Let's see who that is. Not a whole lot of those. See who Vanessa von Bismarck is. Alright, next up. Vanessa von Bismarck, prominent figure in the world of public relation and strategic communications. Known for her innovative approach to brand building and event curation. She's the partner of BPCN. Which is a global strategic consulting and communications. So public relations, if a lot of people don't know, and strategic communications is like the modern day public relations, where they do like target audience analysis and determine all your personality traits, and they just micro target you with messages that are best to give you a behavioral response to go buy an item or perform an action. So that's basically what this lady does. Sometimes it's used for warfare, and sometimes it's just used for normal public relations and advertisements. So, restaurant chain. So I don't know. Seems like she just does the public relations thing. So who else? Who else is in here? We got Stephen Benson's probably pretty common, I'd say. Martyn Birchall. Martyn. Birchall. Let's see who Martin Birchall is here in this Jeffrey Epstein Black Book. I'm telling you, we're just going to go one by one. We're just going to go one by one in this Black Book until we just figure out who every single person is inside of this entire Black Book. It's like 90 pages. I'm only on page like 5 right now. There's still so many more names to go in this thing. I'm just going to live stream all of it, so make sure to like and subscribe. Check out my books. Check out my articles. Leave some comments. Alright, let's see who this Martin Birchall is. It's definitely an interesting way to spell Martin. I don't think there's a lot of people that spell their name Martin like that. I mean, I could be wrong. I don't know. I think we might be done with this page. Oh, actually, no. John Paul Jorlin. I don't think that person's getting confused with a lot of people. Alright, so Martin Birchall is a British entrepreneur and philanthropist. UK-based company. Kids for Tech Limited. Ooh. And it's in Epstein's Black Book. Martin Birchall, what are you up to, bro? Soft Synergy Solutions. Notably through Freddo Education, a project aimed at enhancing educational opportunities. I don't know. Martin Birchall has lived in Romania for over 20 years. Media outlets have scrutinized his background, linking him to controversial figures in Romania's privatization industry. These reports suggest Birchall may have been involved in significant financial dealings during the 1990s and early 2000s alongside individuals with complex backgrounds. These associations have led questions to his business activities and affiliations. Cough, cough, and he's in the Epstein Black Book too. So, I'm gonna see if they can tell me more about Kids for Tech Limited. Can you tell me more about Kids for Tech Limited? In Jeffrey Epstein's Black Book, and you got a company called Kids for Tech Limited, bro? I don't know, man. Innocent till proven guilty, I suppose. Let's see. Kids for Tech Limited was a UK-based private limited company focusing on educational services. It's in London. Educational services. Specific details about its operations are limited due to the absence of filed accounts and returns. So, is it just a shell company? Is it just a shell company? If it hasn't had any accounts and returns filed. Let's see. It's inactive. It was a shell company, administrative oversight. See, I don't know. You're in Jeffrey Epstein's Black Book, bro, and you got a company called Kids for Anything. I don't know. It's pretty sus, but innocent until proven guilty. I don't want to slander anybody just because they're in the late Jeffrey Epstein's Black Book Rolodex. Let's see. Jean-Marc Bison. Let's see, who's Jean-Marc Bison? Yeah, I just got the name right. Let's see who this character is now. Yeah, if you guys are here, you guys are in the chat, make sure you put a thumbs up there if you guys can hear this. For anybody that watches later, if there's anybody even on the live, I don't even know, I haven't checked. Alright, Jean-Marc Bison, French entrepreneur and engineer. Yeah, I don't know, real estate. Okay, we got this guy too. A lot of real estate, tech guys, and fashion industry. Seems like there's kind of like a running theme there, and like talent recruitment. See, Nicholas Bergeron has a lot of things here. It's right in New York too. So let's see. Who is Nicholas? Oh, this is gonna be this is gonna be a difficult last name. Berggg. Berggruен. Did I get that right? Yep. Let's see who this guy is. Alright, we're just gonna go through this entire Black Book. It's gonna be a bunch of streams, so. Who's gonna be the next one? We got this Nicholas Bergeron. And now next we're gonna get Debbie Bismarck or Bola von Bismarck? Probably Bola von Bismarck next. Yeah, that's kind of what I'm thinking. Yeah, we're still only on page 6. Nicholas Bergeron is a German-American billionaire, investor, philanthropist, and intellectual known for his commitment to governance reform. Think tank. He has a think tank, the Bergeron Institute, to reimagining political and cultural institutions in the face of global challenges. Whoa. German-American billionaire. He established his Bergeron Institute to address pressing global issues such as climate change, economic reform, probably stuff along, yeah. Economic restructuring and technological transformation. The institutes include the 21st Century Council, the Council for Futures of Europe, the Think Long Committee for California, trying to reform California's governance system. What are some of the ideas for doing this reimagining? Let's see what they're trying to actually reimagine here. Data, expert insight, local knowledge, emphasizing long-term planning instead of short-term political cycles. addressing climate change or technological disruption. Rethinking democracy. Ideas include ranked choice voting, deliberative democracy, like citizen assemblies, and mechanisms to hold elected officials accountable beyond elections. Address challenges posed by digital technologies and AI. So yeah, I don't know, guys. This guy's got a think tank. German-American billionaire. Let's see who else we got on here. Oh yeah, Bola von Bismarck. There was another Vanessa von Bismarck too. Let's see who the Bola von Bismarck is. Let's see who Bola. I think we're gonna just do this one and then just probably call it a night, guys. I think this stream's been going on. Let me finally check. That stream's been going on for over 2.5 hours. Yeah, we gotta call this a day. After Bola von Bismarck, we're calling it a day, guys. I gotta get out of here. This is insane. Alright, Bola von Bismarck, Spanish artist, music and performing arts. No, it's not. There's a few of them here. Bola von Bismarck. No, these are. Okay, there is no Bola von Bismarck. Yeah, so we're gonna call it at Bola von Bismarck, and then we're going to pick back up on the Black Book when I come back from page 6. So stay tuned, guys. Like, subscribe, check out my books, check out my articles, and